Now, speaking of California, which contains Los Angeles, if you've been paying attention, Xavier Becerra's campaign website only has attacks on Tom Steyer and messaging on voting in a primary that ended 10 weeks ago. Makes sense because his only job was to make sure that Tom Steyer didn't become mayor. He's not even running. You know, it'd be really funny if we got a Republican governor. They deserve it. They really do. Dog, why are they so blatant about it? Because, like I said, because democracy is dying. We're in its last throes right now. The pretense, the kayfabe is fading. Did we all laugh at Andrew Wilson yet? Who the fuck is Andrew Wilson? Big Papa Fascist? Oh, am I dead naming him? Kayfabe is too long A sounds? Yeah. Honestly, for how blue California is on paper, it's actually surprisingly unprogressive. Californians will vote against their own interests as long as it means homeless people get fed into a wood chipper and their property values continue to rise. I'm just clearing tabs for a bit.
Let's talk more then about this drought with Emma Howard-Boyd. She's the chair of the National Heat Risk Commission in the United Kingdom at the London School of Economics. Thank you for making the time to speak to us today here on France 24.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. And I suppose what I'd like to start by saying is and we have seen in some parts of the country water supplies cut off because of other impacts that are taking place. I can see images of parched land. We're seeing as our land dries out.
This Politico article title on Becerra. He's probably California's next governor, so why does no one know what he thinks? And maybe, like, we don't even need state governments, dog. It seems like nobody pays attention to those anyway. Basically, every non-presidential race at this point is just a litmus test on whether you support or don't support Donald Trump. There's basically no other... Like, everyone, it's all just down-ticket voting, party affiliation, and how you feel about the president. Who the fuck pays attention to local races? Even at a state level, like, Congress people and senators are getting elected based on whether or not they're aligned with or against Trump. It has nothing to do with, you know, your actual policies, it seems. Like, no one even cares about who the next California governor is going to be. It could be this person or that person. If it's you know, centrist Democrat, you know exactly what kind of outcome you're going to get. Now, as Sacramento prepares for Becerra's all but inevitable ascension, the elected officials, lobbyists, and corporate and labor leaders who shape policy in one of the nation's most consequential capitals are grappling with a contradiction. Despite Becerra's decades in public service, nobody seems to be quite sure what he'll do with the biggest job of his career, and the ambiguity seems to be by design. Nice. Because he's just 7 corporations in a suit. Far more than 7. I can make some really big promises, but that doesn't get us anywhere. It may get us elected, but I'd prefer not to run on inflated promises that I can't deliver on, Becerra told Politico this week. It's cool how after Mamdani now, centrist Democrats have to run as though promising people nothing is like not only a campaign strategy, but desirable. They're campaigning off of being the adults in the room. Oh, we can't promise we're going to improve anything. We can't even promise you any position, really, because it would be immature of us to do so. Oh, we're not going to engage in the sloppulist position of checks notes, promising you things as a politician. That would be irresponsible. Didn't he take money from Big Tobacco? Dog, he took money from everyone. He's strongly tied to police unions. Like I said, everyone. Using those two themes, he said last week he intends to restore health insurance to the millions of Californians poised to lose it because of Trump's policies, a monumental undertaking he hasn't quite explained how he'd achieve. It's funny, yeah, like one of the few things he's actually promised is essentially unachievable. I don't understand how our Democrats in the Midwest better than California if it's a blue bastion, because there's a lot of money in California. Proximity to money, proximity to capital erodes politics. It's like, you know, uranium-235. It literally, it just dissolves the politics around it. The more money there is in an area, the less democratic it is. It's that simple. And the more undemocratic a Democrat is, the more towards the center they are. It's the reason why the worst Democrats in the country are from New York and California. When he's asked about his plans, Becerra falls back on a ready refrain. Look at my record. Want to know how he'll approach climate change after he was pilloried for receiving Chevron money and saying California needs the oil giant? Research his lawsuits against fossil fuel companies. In response to an inquiry for the story, a spokesman pointed out his past statements and actions. But he's also looking ahead. Becerra's been taking meetings with lobbying firms, industry associations, labor groups, and tech titans. He's studying up on issues like California's budget crunch and the impact of steep federal cuts leveled by H.R. 1, working with a small and now highly in-demand coterie of advisors. This partially reflects Becerra's long-standing approach to politics. The Stanford-educated lawyer prefers to rigorously study issues and run exhaustively through the pros and cons of the teams. Ah, I see. I was wondering why this was in Politico. This is also a puff piece for him. They're doing the thing he's doing. Actually, the fact that he doesn't stand for anything means that he's the responsible adult in the room. Oh, what's his strategy? Oh, no. He's super well educated. The reason why he won't promise you anything is because he's busy consulting with world experts on every subject, so that when he does arrive at a conclusion, one that'll no doubt disappoint you, it's the only possible solution. All of his, meandering do-nothing-ism is actually a symptom of his high intelligence and moderated behavior. Politico is owned by a Trump supporter. Everything is. All media is. What you said is the next paragraph. Well, I do have a very high IQ. Thank you. There's not going to be a lot of hyperbolic pronouncements. There's not going to say, oh, it's hyperbolic to promise your voters anything. I guess it is, kind of. There's not going to be a lot of rhetorical pushing the envelope, said Roger Salazar, a political consultant who's known Becerra for years and worked for his attorney general campaign. That's just not who Xavier is. He's a steady person who takes his time to formulate policies and sticks to them, and never expresses them, it seems. The main Polish liberal, who's been PM like 5 times, also paints having no vision as a virtue. Well, liberalism has stopped having a vision for the future for decades now, since Clinton in the United States, at least. Liberalism has long since stopped promising people like any set of solutions to the problems that we have, just holding the ship steady, even as we go over the cliff. No wonder the electorate's turned to fascism. I mean, yeah, you think a competent Democratic Party would have lost to Trump twice? Trump is like the most openly unelectable, corrupt piece of shit in American political history, and the Democratic Party managed to lose to him the maximum number of times you can lose to a specific presidential candidate. Bro, Iranian liberals who are supposed to help us overthrow an authoritarian theology have no vision for anything whatsoever. I don't know what you're referring to, or if you're doing any like tongue-in-cheek business, but unironically, yes. The past couple of months have proven that Iranian moderates really didn't have a vision for the future. There's long been a moderate liberal wing in Iran that's tried to shape policy, mostly through, secular governance, not through the IRGC, trying to like moderate relations with Saudi Arabia, with America, and for the most part, it's failed because Saudi Arabia and America are both the devil. There's not really much you can do there, Unfortunately, liberalism in general doesn't really have any answers to the problems we face now. The country that has most elevated itself through liberalism in the past half century is, funnily enough, China, and liberals hate it because they need some foreign enemy to justify domestic surveillance. China upholds liberalism? China liberalized and lifted 1 billion people out of poverty. Do you mean economically? Yeah, of course. But also socially. Like, the China has socially liberalized considerably since the Cultural Revolution. I wouldn't call them a liberal government, but liberalism is what drove China's growth over the past half century. It certainly wasn't the authoritarian surveillance state. That hasn't been doing them any big favors when it comes to growth or, economic stability. Liberalism did. But liberals hate China. Do you think after his term the Dems are going to keep painting Trump as this mythically strong electoral figure that nobody expected like they are now? I don't know how much longer this country has after Trump leaves. So I don't really know how long, shaking your fist at his ghost is going to be a relevant electoral strategy. It kind of feels like Democrats in 2030 are going to be saying shit like, vote for me for optimal canned ration allocations or whatever. Our water plan can preserve up to 70% of the America's population. Thoughts on liberals in Canada? As bad as the ones over here? Mark Carney? You mean the guy who ran on opposing Trump and then is dicklessly folded to everything Trump has wanted to do, provided absolutely no regional opposition, done the opposite of fanning the flames of like international, antagonism towards our neo-colonial efforts in suppressing Canada? The guy who admitted that the neoliberal global order was a sham, but then kowtowed to it anyway? No. In retrospect, what do you think that Carney speech was for? Just to feel cool? No. He's just, dude, he's literally like an international banker. He always knew the global neoliberal order was a sham. He just liked it that way. He was mad at Trump for pulling back the curtain on the wizard, It wasn't virtue signaling. It was unambiguously him being like, Trump fucked this up for us. We had a deep state. We had a global neoliberal order that did not promote human rights, but instead enriched corporations, and Trump fucked it up. Which is true.